All right, Prof.
Yeah.
Talking about the functionality of the library as a resource, as a repository of information, how many public libraries do we have, and are they functional?
Yes.
Okay.
Every state is supposed to have a public library, a state public library.
Okay.
During the time of the colonial masters, they had what you call regional libraries, and they insisted on regional libraries. Now the states are being divided. We have states, we have 36 states, and every state has its own public library. So ideally, there should be 36 public libraries. There is the National Library, and the mandate of the National Library is that we should have a branch in every state of the Federation. Presently, we have 33. And you know that every university, if we have 200 universities in Nigeria, there should be 200 libraries. Yes. So, and then every school, because in the National Policy of Education, it is part of the condition for establishment of schools that the school should have a library. So if we have 500 secondary schools, there should be 500 libraries, but it is not so. Many states have jettisoned the library. They have refused to develop, support, improve the facilities of the library. And that's why when you go there, in fact, almost all the states of the Federation, except very few, like I know that in Ogun State, they are supporting the library, and the library is doing the work it's supposed to do. As a community engagement, for education, for literacy, for digital literacy. And then there are a few, very like in Bauchi. Bauchi is supporting its public library. You can name them. Others, they just abandoned the libraries. So they are not functioning. We are taking statistics of the library and the facilities in the library. We are yet, before the end of the year or early next year, we're going to come up with these facilities, the number of libraries, public libraries. Because even during the regional era, they had even community libraries. There will be a state library, and then there will be community libraries, which the communities will be asked to support. But all those things presently, in the 2000, going forward, they are abandoned. And then we are talking about illiteracy, rate of illiteracy. That's the only reason. That's the reason, because we abandoned the library. Do not judge literacy, do not judge elitism, education level, based on the children in the urban areas. Please consider beyond the state capitals and the libraries, and even in the state capitals, they are not working.
They are not?
Yes. They are not functional.
All right. You know,
Yeah.
Oftentimes people complain of books not in latest editions. How are you tackling this issue?
If we do not have libraries, and you do not give these libraries, I mean community, state libraries, and then the national library, if you don't support them, you don't give them the capacity to function, there is no way we can achieve the sustainable development goal. How can you achieve inclusive education or quality education when the children in the hinterland, they do not go to school? Those who do not go to school, they do not have access to any text. We are talking about curriculum-based texts. We are not talking about the books, light reading materials they can read in order to increase their capacity and know the world and increase their knowledge. That's the basic text. The library, in the schools, in the communities, that are the facilities that will help these children whose parents cannot afford to buy. I am calling on members of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, Senate, to look into their constituency and see how they can help them. Developing these libraries, providing the facilities, even digital facilities. Some of these children, they do not have access to computers. You are talking about computer-based education. It is a computer-based test. It is the library, just as they are training them in literacy. It is the library that will train them on digital literacy, so that when they get to the examination hall, they're not embracing or seeing the computers for the first time. The best way to do it, it is not in the school, because not every child will have access to it, but the library, which is open to every child. we have access to it. And you have librarians who are trained to do this. Because the most evolving profession in the world is the library profession. Because as the method of packaging, delivery, access, retrieval of information is evolving, librarians all over the world are being trained. Do not think that what is happening in this world and this country is happening beyond the shores of this country. In the global north, they are training their library and information scientists because they know that these are the people that will support information services. And information services is synonymous with development. Once you have people that have access to information, development will come in diverse forms.
In diverse forms. That means the library is very key to documentation of history and other information. Now, there's a global trend to every endeavor. As a repository of information, how do we address these challenges and concerns of the library to make it more interesting for people to come in? Because you mentioned earlier that most of those public libraries are not functional.
Right. I always like to use this analogy that every system evolves. Just like Nigeria. The Nigeria of 1960 is not Nigeria of today.
Okay.
And the library operations and services are evolving. Once the method of information, packaging, access, retrieval, search is evolving, the library services and operations are evolving. So there is nothing the country can do except to help to transform the libraries in their various communities, in the states. I continue to plead with governors, governments in the states, that they should look into their libraries. Because if they transform these libraries, it will attract the youths. The librarians, library and information scientists, they know what to do. Because our responsibilities are cut out for us. We have to do community engagement. You remember Tales by Moonlight. You remember storytelling. It used to be there. Now that the society is changing, the Gen Z, they need information in digital format. Then the services will also evolve, and we now begin to provide them all these digital resources. But libraries cannot do that now. They cannot do that because they do not have the resources. Libraries' budget are very, very low. So if they can provide them enough money and help them, support them, they will transform the environment. The library is now a learning space. It is not just walking to read. Mm-hmm. It is a space where you learn about technology, entrepreneurship, and also have access to any type of information resource in digital format and print format. So the libraries can do that, but they cannot do it without the support of government. And it is only when we do that. When you enter public libraries in the global north, you will just feel like staying there forever. Anything and you can relax. Where do you have light? Like in the National Library, we're trying to, some of our branches, 1, 2, 3, we have tried to put alternate power supply. Because you cannot have a library without power. That is the beginning of it. And then when you have power, you begin to think of the environment. How beautiful and welcoming is the environment. Then you begin to think of the resources. You think of digital resources and you think of the print. Colorful, very colorful materials that are being printed these days. But if the libraries are not supported financially, they cannot do that. And let me tell you, because we have studied the way the new generation, the Gen Z, if they are reading, they don't like to read very long prose like before. So we are also engaging those involved in the book ecosystem, the publishers. If you transform it in a way that the present generation will love it. Because if they do not read, I must tell you, I will assure you that there is a generation that is reading in this country. That's the generation that will rule the country, because you cannot give what you do not have. And you cannot produce. You have to have something and begin to have critical thinking. And it is only when you read, your brain will expose. And even those who are leading us, and people are only interested in watching television, which is not enough. They should exercise their brain. And we exercise their brain. I'm just talking about in the area of reading, not only in the area of library. But then those who do not have the resources, we need to provide for them. Those who do not have the money, we need to provide for them in order to go into the library. And you, even if you have the money, you may not be able to buy all the books you need. 1848, a music score found in the library. What is going to happen? All the literature and music score, video, films that are produced in this country, where are they? The next generation and generations to come will ask us questions.
Professor Chinwe Anunobi, Chief Executive Officer, National Library of Nigeria, I want to thank you so much for educating us. Thank you for giving us the tips on why we should leverage the benefits of the library. Thank you so much for joining us on Insights this week.
Thank you so very much, my dear.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week. But then I'd like to reiterate that it is time for a paradigm shift in Nigeria's power sector. With the Electricity Act fully in force, we expect states to accelerate efforts in leveraging the advantages it provides to usher in a new era of sustainable, reliable power supply for all Nigerians. My name is Nnamdi Odipo. Join us same time next week for more on Insights. See you then.